Today's topic is ability grouping. Ability grouping, also known as ability tracking, has been around since the beginning of the 20th century. Initially, students were grouped according to their ability to prepare them for their appropriate place in the workplace. Ability grouping is defined by NEA.org as the practice of grouping children together according to their talents in the classroom. Within class grouping and between class grouping are the two common forms of ability tracking. Within class grouping is the practice of putting students of similar ability into small groups for different subjects. Between class grouping involves separating students into different classes based on their academic achievement. Just like any topic, there are pros and cons of ability grouping. I recently read an article titled, "The Pros and Cons of Ability Grouping in Elementary Schools." This article depicts the benefits and detriments of grouping students according to ability at the elementary level. One of the benefits is that teachers can adjust the pace of their instruction based on student needs. Another strength of ability grouping is that it allows teachers to tailor instructional content based on the level of the group as opposed to a one-size-fits-all model. In addition, it allows students to advance at their own rate with other students that have similar ability and achievement. The article titled "Benefits of Ability Grouping" points out that ability grouping challenges students to do their best in the group that they are assigned. An Eric Clearinghouse article titled "Ability Grouping in Elementary Schools" goes on to add that high achievers benefit from competing with one another, and that lower achievers benefit from not having to compete against their higher achieving peers. Another benefit is that students with lower ability can receive more attention from the teacher when they are placed together in a class. Opponents to ability grouping claim that students in the lower group receive lower quality instruction, which will further widen the achievement gap. Similarly, teachers of students in lower group often underestimate their ability to learn. Another negative to ability grouping is that oftentimes, once a student is placed in a certain group, they never move out of that group. Lastly, the practice of ability grouping creates classes or groups of low-achieving students that are deprived of the example and stimulation provided by their higher-achieving peers. While there are people for and against ability grouping, the characteristics of the grouping program and the manner in which it is enacted affect the overall success or failure of the ability group. There are 4 elements of grouping strategies that can affect the overall success of the strategy. The first element is the manner in which teachers modify the curriculum. This contributes to the academic success of the students. Maintaining flexibility in grouping, or the ability to move kids in and out of certain groups, based on growth, is another element. Another element is using more than one measurement or assessment prior to placement. Lastly, single subject grouping that allows students to be placed at low, medium, or high in different subjects affects the outcome of the grouping. I've seen the pros and cons of ability grouping within our school system as a teacher and many years ago as a student. When I was a student in elementary school, I was a high achiever in reading, but not in math. To this day, I attribute my negativity towards math based on my emotions of being in the middle group throughout elementary. As an educator and as a parent, I can see the benefits and pitfalls of ability grouping. As a speech-language pathologist, I see the benefits that some of my students can reap from learning from their peers and the advantages of a heterogeneous group. Frequently, their peers can explain something to them or provide an example that is helpful to the students that I work with. It seems to be more in their language. There are situations that I feel that there are benefits to ability grouping for the students that I work with. The pace is slower, there seems to be different methodologies used for the instructing, etc. As a parent of a high ability learner, I see the benefits of ability grouping for high-achieving students. By the beginning of 2nd grade, my son was growing bored with school, and I couldn't figure out why. In our school, students can begin taking enrichment classes in 3rd grade. We do walk to reading from kindergarten through 6th grade, so reading was never an issue. However, now that the enrichment classes have started for the other subjects, he is challenged by school and always wanting to learn more, and do more discoveries on his own. With all of that being said, my preferred arrangement for teachers and students is the co-taught classroom. I can see the amazing benefits from the co-taught reading, English, and math classes at our junior and senior high. This method seems to be the biggest benefit to the largest amount of students.